Look at that. A ream leaking from the bottom. And how old is it? 2018. Already leaking from the bottom. And this is a ream from one of the big box stores, because if you buy them from plumbing supplies, it'll say professional. But the ones from the box stores say performance. So we're replacing it. And I love this type of job where I can park right here and I'm working right there. Nothing better, dude. I can keep my doors open and I'll keep checking to see if someone's breaking in. This thing stopped working and I sent it to Milwaukee and they had to replace it because it was still under the warranty. Give you a 5-year warranty. But I was without a transfer pump for a good 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. Kind of annoying, dude, but you know, it is what it is. I guess it's better than not having any warranty at all. Look at this mess over here, dude. What is all this? Disgusting. (2018), what is that? 18, 19, 20. So that's 6 years. 6 years and it's already leaking from the bottom. It's impressive. I mean, really. Transfer pump's going. Wow. Old crusty gate valve actually works. Impressive. Oof. Alright. I'll take these suckers off. Alright, I was wrong. The gate valve does not hold. So, I will install a new one. Let me turn the water off. This is the shut off right here. Some guys say you don't need tape on the nipples, but I use tape, so because I've seen these leak, even though these are similar to supply hoses on sinks and stuff. I still use tape and dope on those because these leak sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. Got everything off. This is drained down. Good enough, I suppose. Yep. Things just pops right off. So now, gotta undo earthquake strizaps. Those are not tight at all. You should not be able to do this by hand, technically. At first, I mean, once you loosen it up, these suckers should be really tight. I like to get these really tight. That's one of the things that I'm more concerned about. Like the TMP being 6 inches off the ground and stuff like that is, in some situations, is not that big of a deal. But the one thing I always make sure is proper and tight and done right are the earthquake straps, because if there's a little bit of seismic activity, this thing could quite easily go flying out of this little room. Not likely, but you know, I don't know. It just makes me sleep better at night, I suppose. But see, this one I can't do by hand. That one's more proper right there. Here's the TMP. We'll cut this. Look at that. That looks awesome. Should I fix it or should I keep it? That just goes underneath. It shoots out right here. What is that? That's not even... Hey man, if it works, it works. I popped the TMP to let some air in, and it wasn't leaking right there, so if it works, it works. We take this out. I'm gonna put this in TMP. I tape and dope this, and when you put this in, make sure you don't cross thread it. Just really make sure that goes in nice and straight, because I had an issue once where I don't know if I cross threaded it or the threads on this were messed up, but it leaked a little bit, and I luckily have a 3/4 tap. I re-tapped those threads and got a new TMP, and fortunately it fixed it. But don't put too much. I put 3 rotations of tape on this and then a bunch of dope, because when you put too much tape, sometimes it's harder to feel if you're getting a good thread. So that's how I do it. Do whatever you want though, alright? Alright, I cut the TMP. Let's see what kind of squirreliness this brings. Come on, guy. There you go. What, do they caulk it right there or something? Well, this is my preferred method of doing expansion tanks. I haven't made this level yet. You put a T, 3/4 brass T on the 3/4 nipple. These are dielectric, by the way. You can put copper straight to these. I called Bradford White and actually asked them that, and their tech support said that is correct. These are dielectric, but that's besides the point. It's a 6-inch nipple. It's all 3/4, 1.5 nipple right here. And the expansion tank will go. You'll thread it onto this. And in this particular instance, I don't know how the landlord knew about expansion tanks and nothing else, but he's like, could you put the expansion tank to where I could easily remove it and reinstall it myself? I was like, yeah, no problem. But another way is to tee off the nipple right here with copper, and then put one of those cheap and useless expansion tank straps right here, and then you strap it with one of those, which personally, those Hold Right expansion tank straps are just chintzy, cheap. I would trust this way more in an earthquake than those cheap straps. That's just me. I need to get more of these. These fit inside the fitting. Beautiful. All right, let me turn the water on, make sure there's no leakies. And then I'm gonna muscle this up into there. That's gonna be, that's gonna be the highest I've ever had to muscle up a water heater, dude. I don't know, man. Might have to ask one of the owners to help me. I don't know. No joke, I've been doing leg workouts, squats and stuff at my house with like doing single leg squats while holding weights for about the last month or so. And I gotta be completely honest that was quite easy to grab and lift with my legs. Okay, let's do the drip tee. Okay, I put dope on the flared fittings, not tape. I use galvanized typically when it's outside because I've installed water heaters and gone back to replace gas valves or whatever, and anytime I use black iron, it gets really rusty. But when I use galvanized, it takes a lot longer for it to get rusty. As a matter of fact, I replaced a gas valve on a heater that I installed like 5 years ago, and the galvanized was the water heater was in a closet like this, and the galvanized was not rusty at all. But I have seen black iron drip tees in closets similar to this get a little bit rusty, so maybe that's just California weather, I don't know. Okay, so I haven't connected this yet because I'm not exactly sure how I want to twist this. Once I do, then I'll connect that. All right, earthquake straps are on. When inspectors inspect water heaters here in LA, I always see them do that. Although the last 3 years, inspections are all done via phone. Well, I actually did have one in person, but it was there was a lot going on at that particular inspection. But if you get a water heater inspected, they do it over the phone now. It's like a Zoom meeting type thing, but it's through the city of LA. It's kind of cool, to be honest with you. But that's nice and tight. Now I can go ahead and thread that on. Tighten it up here in a second. Now let's work on the water lines. The brush couldn't reach the dope at the bottom there. It's almost empty. There's a lot left, dude. I got another can. I got another can right here. I just want to use it all, dude. It drives me crazy not getting all of it. Okay, so there was just a little coupling on there. I unsweated that. And then I'll try to connect it. I got the supply hoses on. My vent is a little too short. I'm just gonna leave it like that. No, I'm just joking. Lucky for you, I maybe lucky for me, I always keep one or two of these 3-inch and then B-vent 3-inch. I keep these in here specifically for that reason, because I can normally, and these are the bendy ones. I don't keep the actual vent pipe. I just keep these little bendable elbows, whatever you want to call them. But that I'm gonna have to likely take off. I'll show you what I'll have to do. Oh, yikes. Okay, fortunately the last guy left me enough. I was able to gently pull this down. Get that on there, I'll put some screws in there. I'm not going to need this. It's perfect. Alright, now let's do this expansion tank. Okay, what I'm doing here is just seeing what the pressure to the building is. It's about, I don't know, 85. It's actually pretty high. Should maybe do a PRV. It's about 80, 85. We'll set it at 85. And then once you get the pressure of the building, then you pump up the expansion tank to that same pressure. I'll show you. These are pre-charged at 40, 45. Alright, it was at 85. Put a little Teflon and put a little dope on it, and then you just thread it in. Do that next. Let's see if there's any leaks. What do you say? Whoa. A little too fast. Let's do that nice and gentle. There you go. I don't see any leakies. Really got lucky with that, huh? Okay, so no leakies. I usually write on here what I pumped it up to, 85 psi. And then sometimes I'll write the date when this was installed. Sometimes I don't, because when if it's a rental and it's in LA, there's these involuntary inspections that are done every, I think, 2 years by the LA RSO. It's the rent control ordinance. And if it's I think this building is probably rent controlled, but when they do those inspections, if they see the date on there, like let's say I wrote it for today and there's an inspection next week, you'd be like, oh, well, that says that was installed on this date, and I don't see any permits, you know, if the owners don't want to pull permits for it. I guess they could also check this, but I don't know. Those inspectors aren't, they're not trained in construction or plumbing or electrical or anything like that. They just they look for code violations and stuff like that that are obvious. So they likely wouldn't check this, but if you have the date on there, they might be like, what's this? Okay, now let's try to tie this in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coupling on that, and I just have this piece of scrap copper. I'm just going to solder that on. Oh, that might line up perfectly. And then I'll just work myself down, and I'll use, I don't have any other copper in the truck, so I'll just use that copper to make this work. might almost perfectly line up. I can push that this way a little bit. That'd be nice, dude. Made it work. I had to use that old scrap piece of copper right here, but made it work. Okay, water's on. Bled out the air via TMP. And now we light.